Welcome back to TMI this morning, and of course we're moving on to our discussion segment where we're getting to talk about the latest policy by the Edo state government, the latest education policy, which happens to be the ban of nursery and primary school graduation ceremonies. Now, on August 19 and 20, the Edo State Education Committee under the chairmanship of Dr. Padi Ezeyamu came out to put a ban on the graduation on nursery, kindergarten, and primary 6 pupils ceremony. And at the same time, this policy comes with something else. The government also approved a 4-year reusable textbook policy, and it went ahead to introduce a mandatory entrepreneurship training for JS3 students. Now, what's the motivation? What is really at stake? How are schools, how are families, and how is the general populace really responding to this? To talk about this morning, I have with me Dr. Osaige Enwuse, who happens to be AFED chairman. AFED is one of the body of private schools here in Edo State, and he's also a public affairs analyst, and he is going to delve into this matter with me. Let's know what the public is saying and really how things are going as regards this new education policy. It's my pleasure to have you. Good morning.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be here. Good morning, viewers. It's good to be here again. Thank you.
All right, fine. So the latest education policy, being the chairman of one of a very notable association of private schools here in Edo State, what is the response to this new policy in your view?
All right, thank you. First of all, it is important to wish our children happy resumption. It's an exciting day. The traffic are building up again. Well, be that as it may, I would like to first of all establish that it is within the purview of the government to provide a regulatory framework for educational issues. As you already may be aware, is under the concurrent list in our, constitution, thereby empowering the government to provide the regulatory framework. If you look at the whole burden of the policy, it's beyond just the 3 atomized issues. You discover that there's really nothing so much new. This is something that we have been working with. Apart from the 3 items that you atomized, well, if you ask me to speak to that, I would say policies are policies because it affects a wide range of people, okay? When policies are made, it must be made from what we call the holistic view, all right? Like, if you look at the ban on graduation, well, why some are excited about it, we have also raised concern about some certain issues. Okay, like I said before, the private school owners' participation in education is huge and is massive. And for us, we are part of the society. Whatever policies that strengthen our educational narrative is what we stand for, whether you call it AFED, NAMS, or ABSIN. Whatever policy that gives our kids a sense of relief and participation must be applauded. All right, like when you talk about the reuse of textbook, that is okay. Nobody is against that. When a child have used a textbook for some time and the other is using it, so considering the level of challenge we have in our society in terms of hardship and poverty, we must find a way to lessen the burden for the general public. But however, some of our concerns range from the fact that when you want to bring up a policy, you need to look at it from different sides. Like I said before, a policy is a policy when it is inclusive. One of the quality of policy making is objectivity and inclusivity. We woke up to see these policies being rolled out. When you talk about the ban on graduation, there are a lot of parents that wish possibly there was another way to look at it. Let me bring to your attention that there are schools that don't run from nursery all through to Essex. There are schools in Edo State that end at kindergarten. There are schools that end at primaries. There are also schools, of course, that runs all through. So you start looking at various issues. One of the issues to look at is, you see, graduation. We think that the most important emphasis in graduation should be on modesty, should be more on modesty. Ban or no ban has little or no effect, you know, in the school narrative. Because why? When you say graduation, it's not just a ceremony. Part of the things we fail to realize, I have seen the reactions of some parents. Why some parents have said good, some have said, oh my God, I wish my child have graduated. You know, some have this sentimental attachment to the graduation gown. You know, I think what happened to our graduation narrative was the issue of modesty. I think that is the issue to address. And the issue of modesty cannot be attributed to just the school. The parents also have a part to play. Quite recently, why I think that should have informed some of this decision by the government is we started seeing flamboyant graduation. We started seeing children using very exotic cars in the name of they were going for graduation, and some kind of party sort of, you know, which I think started calling for public concern. But be that as it may, there are three reasons for graduation. Number one, graduation is part of helping to build the numerical skills of a child. Let me quickly drop this because I know we may not have enough time. Number one, you notice that children, usually parents naturally, are so busy these days that it is only a handful of parents that really have time to check, you know, their children assignment, even notes in our current reality. But when it comes to graduation, you give a child rehearsals, you give a child assignment, you give a child academic assignment that is to help to build their numeracy. That's the first time you see parents' involvement. You know, graduation helps to create motivation and inspiration for the child. It helps to improve numeracy, and it also helps to improve public confidence.
Dr. Osaige, thank you so much. I wish we had more time to dwell on this, but this is where we draw the curtain on the conversation. We might come back to this, but let's take an intermission and we'll be right back.
TMI, every opinion counts.
All right, welcome back. We still have Dr. Osaige Ewonse standing by, and we are still talking about the latest education policy by the Edo State government, talking about the ban on graduation ceremonies by the nursery, for the nursery and primary schools, of course. And, you know, he was giving his insights. And although we don't have much time, but I would like him to, you know, give us more insights while wrapping it up. Dr. Osaige.
Thank you so much. Well, just in a way to rounding up, we think there are major issues bedeviling the educational sector today. And as private sector, we are huge players. When you have to put together a body of policies, it is important you have to check. Policy is not made to score a point. It is made to improve a system. Like I've said, we are totally in support of that. But just two issues. You see, when you realize that, for example, you say there's a ban on graduation, reuse on textbooks, and of course, the skill acquisition scheme, there are a lot of factors to take note of. Part of the major concern of private schools today is overburdening taxation. You know, so a lot of times, and again, if you are also banning graduation, bear in mind that you also have to look at the new UBA policy. The 633 system of education have been abolished to 934. Okay, so if you say there is no graduation at primary 6, then we are questioning the rationale behind MBA. MBA is middle basic assessment. The rationale behind MBA doesn't make sense because according to the UBA, MBA is not recognized. It's no longer a certificate class. So why creating a certificate exam? Because when you have a certificate exam, the next natural thing to have is a graduation to the next level. Part of the things we are telling the government to do is to review the importance of possibly scrapping the MBA, because according to the new guideline of education, is 933, meaning that the universal basic education must now climax at J3, no longer at primary 6. So the whole reason of having to gather children going through the road, you notice what happened last time. Sadly, we lost the people. that becomes very unnecessary, because for quite some time we have not been getting certifications for that exam, and we pay to register for the exams. Another side to the coin, finally, is the fact that private school is concerned about the fact that government must begin to realize that we are partners in progress. We are part of the hardship and the suffering of the society. That's the reason why I put it to you. If you look at your local communities and churches, you can hardly see the richest person in this community or this place a private school owner. Because the illusion that there is so much private school, there's so much money in private school, is overrated. You know, part of our burden is what we think are the major issues. Number one, if you target at cutting whatever we get in private school sector, large chunk of it goes into taxation. Just about 2-3 months ago, we had a public outcry in the fact that a school that used to pay 150,000 on tax now asked to pay 2-point-something million. Now we have written, thank God for His Excellency the Governor of Edo State, that why there's a claim that is being reduced. If a school that pays 150 is now asked to pay 2-point-something, and you now say you have reduced it to 800, have you solved the problem? You haven't. You know, so we want to say that when policies are being perceived, major players should be asked to make their contributions, not because we make the law for the government, but because we bring to the table an holistic view, what we call the helicopter view in the corporate world, so that you don't take a law that affects a certain sector without taking into cognizance that there is another sector. Part of our cry today is that government should also look at the multiple levies. It's a school resumption. We will begin to feed the media our experiences on the field, because our passion, private school association in Edo State, are a responsible set of people, and our passion is for quality.
Okay,
we can't be wished away,
Dr.
considering our numbers. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining TMI this morning, and giving us a very insightful analysis and a holistic view on the new education policy by the Education Board of the Edo State government, where we get to see a ban on graduation ceremonies for the nursery and primary schools, which also came with some other things like the 4-year reusable textbooks, and also the entrepreneurship program for GS3 students. It was such a pleasure having you.